my name is Rushina. I work with Masala Trails. We have the food tours that operate in Melbourne as well, in the city of Dandenong area in Melbourne, as well as Melbourne City. And we also operate tours to India that focus on Indian food. What I'm going to be doing today is a recipe for yogurt-braised chicken, using a very traditional recipe for Masala Chas. Masala Chas is a yogurt-based drink that we drink on a regular basis in India. It's cooling in the summers, and it's also considered warming when you do a fried garlic tadka on it. A tadka is another very typical Indian traditional culinary method which we use in everything, which consists of a little bit of oil or fat in which we fry some spices which actually work as a provocation of flavor. They bring out the flavors of the rest of the dish, they round it off, and we use that for everything from dal to rice to vegetable side dishes, chicken and meat curries, and even seafood. It's used all over. The spices in it might change depending on where in India you are, but you will definitely have a tadka that's used everywhere. So the chas, which is the traditional drink that we drink, it's a yogurt-based drink. It's 2:1 in proportion. Two parts yogurt, 1 part water, and you just shake it up like you would in a cocktail shaker. We spice it up a little bit depending on the season. So in the summer we would add. I'm going to do it as I speak, so you get an idea of what I'm talking about. So we've got here yogurt, Greek style yogurt, very nice. It's actually one of the nicest ones I've used for cooking Indian food. And then we're going to add some water. This will help thin it out. What I've got here is toasted cumin that's been pounded in a mortar and pestle. So and cumin is a digestive spice. It's used in everything. Wherever you go in India, cumin will be the first spice that's added to any dish that requires a tadka. So I'm adding about half a teaspoon of cumin. And I'm going to be adding ginger and chili paste. It's just ginger and chilies that have been pounded together. Your regular chilies are the ones you get at the supermarket. So they're not very spicy as per Indian tastes, but I think for the Australian palate, they are fairly spicy. So just about a half a teaspoon of that. And a little bit of salt. And then you just shake it up like you would any cocktail at home. And you can flavor this with a few different flavors. You can add pepper in the winter, which is warming for the system. What we also do, which I'm going to show you next, is in the north of India where it's cooler, we do a tadka for this as well. So that's usually done with ghee, or you can use grapeseed oil in Australia. We need an oil that's not flavored. So I'm just going to melt a little bit of this ghee. Now if you're drinking this as a drink, then you would add this tadka to the jug that you were making the drink in. But because I'm going to be cooking chicken in it, I'm just going to do it in the pan. You should be able to see what I'm doing at the back. So we've got ghee going here. Just melt it a little bit. Ghee is a very pure fat. It comes from butter that's been clarified. And I think you might know it as brown butter here in Australia. The fat that comes out of brown butter is what we use as ghee. Yeah, that's ghee. So I'm going to add a little bit of garlic to this. And some chili, just a little bit. You can see how spicy you want it. I've used local Australian chilies, but you also get spicier Indian chilies in the Indian markets. Like if you go towards Dandenong, there's a lot of shops there, and the Dandenong market itself carries chilies. So you should be able to find these there. We also do small Indian food tours called Masala meanders through Dandenong if you want an introduction to Indian food and spices. So now what I've got here is my tadka, and if I was drinking this, I would just add it into the glass that I have mixed up my drink in, and it's ready to drink. It's very good in the winters because it changes the quality of the yogurt drink from cool to warming for your body. It's very typical Indian food law here that yogurt is considered a cool thing that's eaten more in the summer, but when you give it a tadka of ghee and garlic and maybe onion, you're changing it from cooling to the system to warming for the system. Now what I'm going to do here is I'm going to add this spiced yogurt to the pan. And what I have here is a chicken breast that I've leveled out with a meat mallet, which I'm going to add to this. This is a very nice dish for any time of the year. It's good for, but especially good for the summer. It's also great warm or cut up and served in a salad or as part of a sandwich. And it's not as spicy as Indian food can be, especially in Australia. Indian food back home goes beyond just spice. Beyond chili hot spice, we have a lot of subtler uses for our chilies and other spices. And then we'll give it. Just keep basting your chicken breast with the liquid. The liquid will dry out towards the end. As you can see, the chicken started cooking already. You can cut this up and do it as a curry if you don't want to do a whole chicken breast per person. You can use boneless cuts of chicken as well. It would also be good for lamb. You probably need to cook it a little longer, but yogurt also works as a tenderizer. So with lamb, it would actually, or any meat actually, results in really, really soft textures to the meat. And what we do is as it cooks, the outside crisps up and becomes a little bit golden, but the inside stays soft. The garlic as well as the cumin are both digestives, and in India we consider meats of any kind heavy on the system, so these spices help us digest them. We're almost done here. If you're doing chicken like this, you don't need to marinate it. If you're doing lamb, you might want to marinate it for a little while in this spiced buttermilk mixture. I think it would be good on the barbecue as well. If you're vegetarian, you can do this with cauliflower. It's really nice. Just roast the cauliflower a little bit or stir fry it with some ghee before, so that that boiled taste of cauliflower goes away. With any crusty bread, sourdough especially, goes well with the yogurt. as you finish cooking, just keep pushing the solids of the yogurt towards the chicken so that it sticks to it. If you think that your liquid is too much, because sometimes with yogurt it's hard to tell whether, if it's going to come together or not, you can use a little bit of cornstarch to just bind it together. So just about a half teaspoon of cornstarch dissolved in water and added towards the end, and it just brings everything together. We do have recipes for this. We'll put them up on our blog. The objective of doing this was I wanted to show that Indian food goes much beyond the spicy curries that you probably experience in Indian restaurants here, which is why, I would like to invite everybody here to India to try Indian home cooking, which is very, very different from Indian restaurant cooking, even in India. And this one's almost done. As you can see, it's nicely brown now. Just going to give it a last little burst. The yogurt has stuck to the chicken and it's nice and brown now. It actually, I'm sure you're tasting it there, but it's got a very nice texture because of the one that I did at home has a little bit of corn flour to bind it. This is done now. It's really nice and brown on the outside. It should be done on the inside as well. What I've done here is I've brought along a little bit of salad just to give you an idea of how it looks. The dressing from the yogurt, the gravy is good enough to dress the salad with, so you don't need to add any oil or olive oil or vinaigrette to it. Or if you would like to, a berry-based vinaigrette would probably go very well with this. You can just serve it up like that. That's yogurt braised chicken for you. Thank you.